Going to discuss the cost of missed opportunity in this video. This is sort of a part 2 to the video What's Left of the Left. You don't have to have seen that, but you can check it out first if you'd like. Here's an example. Imagine you have a job interview. It's a few blocks down the street, but you decide to take a free ride. Now, let's say if you decided to walk, you'd have found $100 on the ground. By taking the ride, you technically missed out on $100. Now let's say you did walk and you took this $100 and you thought, oh, I have $100 now, so I'm not going to go for the job interview anymore. And maybe you go to a bar and you meet some pretty cool people. Now, by going to this bar, you might have missed out on an interview that would have handed you a job where you make $100 a day and meet countless of more cool people. As I mentioned in What's Left of the Left, this effect is increasingly seen with people's over-reliance on government for various things in their life. You see this in showing up in many places outside of just politics. Try to keep an eye out for it and you may notice. I was just looking at this clickbait story called Legendary Lost Cities Finally Found, and one kind of piqued my interest, which is the city of Mahendra Parvata in Cambodia. So I'm just on YouTube exploring that city. I'm going to say the name again. But one of the top comments was they need to renovate and restore all of those temples and make it a UNESCO site so that it can be protected. The area have huge tourist potential. So this is T. Loe, which might be someone of Cambodian descent. But just in general, you see that it's everywhere, this whole idea that they need to renovate and restore all of the temples, make it UNESCO site. Does that actually work? This pawning it off to somebody else to do it, does UNESCO actually work in protecting these things? No, it's just a foregone conclusion. Another unfortunate example of that was this article I saw about the Oculus in New York City. I remember first seeing this train station and just being mesmerized by the effect of the building. It just seemed like this massive hedgehog that kind of moved back and forth from you. I haven't been in it yet. Actually, I want to check it out. But the inside's all white. There's apparently some issues with the all-whiteness of it, not in the racist sense that you might think of the current political climate, but no, actually, yeah, all white is not all right, apparently. This is another thing, but in a different way in this case. So, okay, sad story. In the situation of a twin, this was early in the morning. I think it was something like 5 or something in the morning. I may include a link to the article here. It was just a story about them coming back from a night out. I think they were heading back to New Jersey, or they were heading back to New Jersey from New York, from a night out to New York. So this was early morning, after 4:27. In my opinion, if something happens after 4:27 a.m., it's happened early morning. If it happens before 4:27 a.m., it's last night. But that's by the side. So they're coming back early morning, a little intoxicated. Apparently, one of the twins, her hat blew off. She reached out to grab it and fell a couple of stories off the escalator, hit the ground, and died on the way to the hospital. So, sad story. Of course, people being interviewed about this, as they often do in these kind of situations. And this was the answer by one of them. In my opinion, I think they should build the walls a little higher when they build these escalators. Because the same thing happened at Shea Stadium when they rebuilt Shea Stadium. Someone fell over the walls. The walls are not high enough to prevent tragic accidents like what happened today. See, I may be looking at this too much, but you just see it even in something like this. I think that they need to build the walls a little higher when they build these escalators. Because the same thing happened at Shea Stadium, which is a stadium, I think, in Chicago, or some baseball stadium. But these are such... How many hundreds of thousands of people have been through these locations? But because these individuals have these horrible situations happen to them, now someone else needs to build these walls a little higher. I'm not sure what happened in the Shea Stadium case, but in this case, the young lady was unfortunately intoxicated. That's not really discussed here. It's just discussed that there was an issue with how the building was built. Okay, so I'm going to call it a video for now. Essentially, the Zombiecrats, what's left of the liberal left. Has the party been spending too much time saying somebody else should do things or blaming other people for things, taking away the personal agency? They've been saying, look, these different identity groups that we're going to service, are not personally responsible. So we're not personally responsible for you either. This might just be the nature of politics in general, where it's constantly pushing off the responsibility for doing things onto someone else. They say, look, this is not my fault. This person did this, so you can't fire me. So this general behavior of bureaucracy, of pushing the buck, of not taking agency on yourself or granting it to other people, it weakens you. It weakens a person. It keeps you in a status of arrested development. It keeps you incapable of actually dealing with reality when someone like Donald Trump strides in and just wrecks you. Just completely wrecks these people. I mean, there's just a constant blitzkrieg. And yes, blitzkrieg, because, of course, clearly Hitler, right? German term thrown in there. But there's been a constant blitzkrieg by this man who's just destroying these people. They don't know what to do. Like, their ammo is even gone. Even Keith Ellison had this quote where he said, Keith Ellison was in an article saying Donald Trump stole their policies. Now, I don't really agree with that assessment, but Donald Trump has admitted that he's been a Democrat. He was a Democrat. He's been on that side. Clearly, I mean, not clearly, I don't want to say clearly, I don't know the man, but it seems he did not find it effective and switched over to what needed to be effective. He understood that I have to do X, Y, Z to actually get into position. Now he's in position. Now he's, as many of the people said, even the media, a lot of media sources that have been very critical of him have been coming around and saying that Donald Trump became president with this joint address. I think he became president when he won the presidency, but that's not something I'm going to harp on too much here. Thanks for listening. I'm going to call it a rant here. Please like and subscribe if you like what you heard here. Share if you could. Links in the bottom bar with an article to visuals and links associated with this. So please check that out. Until next time. Bye.